Catch him in his natural habitat. You're on.
Cool. So, grab your part, grab your healthy beverage. I don't know what the fuck's in that, so. But, this is what it is. Down here, do your best to clean all that up. It's quite deep. I didn't realize that, so we did our best to clean it up. We'll clean up the intake area a little bit later, but for now, we're gonna set this in. We don't have the right size inverse Torx, so we're actually using just a 6-point quarter inch. And make sure and oil that one O-ring, this guy, so it slides in there a little bit better and you don't tear it. And then just start with this one down over here and snug it down to begin with. Something like this, it's best to crisscross it so you don't snap this brittle plastic.
Think we should get some Torx specs?
Yeah.
I'll go do that.
Okay, so we were able to find it. These oil cooler bolts torqued to 106 inch-pounds. You can watch me snap one off. Okay, and then your lower intake bolts are also torqued to 106 inch-pounds, and then your uppers were 89 inch-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and clean up these lower intake gasket surfaces and grab our new gaskets and throw them on, and then we will go ahead and button this area up. One thing to note is you do have 2 electrical connectors down here, and then your coolant line that goes to this oil cooler as well. So make sure on this side, on the driver's side of the motor, you do have 2 electrical connectors for this cooler, and then your coolant line. Check down here on the bottom of the coolant line to make sure it's not severed or broken. These are right by the motor. They get warmed up and they get brittle real quick. This one's still pliable, so we're going to reuse it. So I'm going to go ahead and get a nice Scotch-Brite so I can clean these mating surfaces up, and then we'll be back. So in reference, I use one of these 3M Scotch-Brite pads. They're actually in your local hardware store for paint and body work, but they work good. They take off the old gasket without harming the metal below. Use a screwdriver or a pick and pull out these old gaskets. And there's actually a nice little notch. If you can zoom in right here, that's a notch in the intake to actually pull these off. Makes life a little easier. It's the one thing Dodge did that was actually halfway smart. And so these, I just spray off with carb with brake cleaner and shove the new ones in. Now, one thing to note when you do this is Dodge wasn't smart, and you'll notice the shape of the lowers versus the uppers, totally different. So when you're putting your new ones on, pay attention to that. The goofy shaped ones go on the bottom. And then these, they just kind of press in. They have little ribs on them to hold them in place. And most of the time you'll get these gaskets when you buy a new oil cooler. That's where ours came. And These mate to machine surfaces, so don't put any silicone or anything like that on there. And then, if you didn't pay attention when you took it off, your fuel line goes towards the passenger side. So with everything cleaned up, carefully set it in place maybe. And then these bolts all get torqued to 106 foot-pounds. Are you started?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. So
Edit that out.
I don't edit shit. Okay, so get your 8mm and get these lower intake bolts started. They're 12 feet long, so it's going to take a while. And remember, these are torqued to 106 foot-pounds also. And there's 3 on this side and 3 on that side. Actually, there's 4 on that side. Whoops. So once you get all those tightened down, grab your trusty little pick. You can do this before you put it on too, but again, each one has a little area to pry it up with. The only thing Dodge does that's not stupid. And then you can grab these out of there. And then throw your new ones on. I'm going to go ahead and finish getting these put on there and then get these intake bolts torqued, and then we'll be right back with putting the upper intake on.
Alright.
Okay, so when you're not a dumbass and don't drop a bolt, there's 4 bolts on each side. So now we can go ahead and plug in our nice little fuel injectors. Remember, there's 3 on each side. No, because there's 6-cylinder. Push them on and then lock the connector. And then make sure and put your fuel line on. So that's right there, obviously. And then we're going to grab the upper intake. Along with this nice little pad. And it goes in there right like that. And then if you remember, you have those 2 studs and those 2 studs. And I wasn't going to go through all the work of getting everything torn apart, so I just bent these front ones, so I don't have to mess with that. Now if you did the right thing and took it the right way apart, you know, you'll have to deal with that. I'm just going to wipe these mating surfaces off quick. This is plastic, so you're not going to get much buildup. And if you do, just use some brake clean or carb cleaner and clean it off. Make sure all your electrical stuff is out of the way. And we're going to slide the front in. And it's on there. So we're going to start all these. And there's 2, 4, 6, 7. So we're going to go ahead and tighten all these down, and then we'll do the intake boot here, and all the electrical connectors, and we'll show you where all that stuff goes, and put a few vacuum lines on it, and we'll have this buttoned up.
Okay.
So we're just gonna finish torquing all these quick. And now we have all these electrical connectors in this boot right here. And the way we did it, we just slid that right off. And you have this big clip.
I didn't get a view of that.
You have this big clip right here. And it just goes right down here. And there she is. So then you have these guys, these two connectors. So this one plugs right into your throttle body. This goes into that sensor. Then you have this vacuum line. Goes right there. Now you have this guy. Goes right here. This wiring harness loom connects there. That one connects right there. That goes right in there. And then you have this big vacuum line. It just goes right like that. Take your favorite pair of pliers. Put the clamp back on. And then this big guy, it connects to the valve cover on the driver's side. And it will connect to the intake hose wherever in God's green earth I put it. Right here. Move the crap out of the way. If it's too tight, because you didn't loosen it enough, it's just an 8mm. At least ours is. Make sure your filter's seated all the way, and then put the back of the filter cover in. It kind of clips in place, and then you have 3 clips that hold the cover on, and this guy goes right there. And then obviously you have an engine cover that just pops on, but we'll put that on later. Make sure you tighten this clamp. And then we're actually going to drop the coolant and oil just to make sure there's no contaminants in it. Obviously when you do that repair, you open up both the coolant and the oil passages, so they're going to mix a little bit. So just go ahead and clean them all out and drain everything and put new fluid in it. But from Dumb and Dumber, like, subscribe, comment. Have fun, guys.